Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I am Jason Laporte. He is Zach Partridge. What's up?
What up?
It's Monday morning. It's the day after opening day for NFL football. And like every year, you and I are sitting here in disappointment as our Lions take another L after dominating the whole game.
Don't mix it up here. Don't mix it up here. I'm not disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
I expected it.
Well, I kind of did too. I kind of did. You're right.
On the second to last play of the game, when the guy drops the ball in the end zone, did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
So the second to last play of the game, Stafford makes a perfect throw, hits the guy right in the hands. He's in the end zone, and he turns to like celebrate or whatever, and he dropped the ball. He had it. He had it.
I was at the gym, and my buddy's a Bears fan, so we're going back and forth, and he had the Bears on a teaser. So I'm like, well, I could win, and you still win money. But, yeah. Dude,
no,
how do they give up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter?
Let me just explain people for the people don't understand the Lions Lions fandom pain here. But if you're a Lions fan, I am no longer emotionally or financially investing in the Lions until they get new ownership. It is not a coincidence that they've never won a playoff game in my lifetime. In 31 years on the planet, having the greatest running back the game's ever seen, and they never won a playoff game. It's bad ownership. It's bad culture. And I'm done until somebody else buys the team. If it's Kid Rock or whoever who's talking about it. He's talked about putting together a group to buy the team. Martha Ford won't die, and she won't give it up. So
she won't die.
She's like 93. Give it up already. So I just want her to die, and I want Kid Rock to buy the team with the group. And I actually think that they could actually do something. Pleasant surprise. Adrian Peterson was kind of fun yesterday.
He was. He had a good game. Did he have over 100? Or he was right out of 100?
Just under, but like on 11 carries, he averaged like 7 yards a carry.
Dude, what? I mean, it's got to be a culture. It's a culture thing.
It's a culture thing. It's anything in sports. Team sports, family, business, whatever.
That's true.
How come some restaurants succeed and some don't? Bad luck? No, it's bad management, bad culture. I mean, the freaking Cardinals figured it out. They were in the depths of being irrelevant for my entire life. And then they got a right coach. They brought in, Larry Fitzgerald was there, and he was a constant, did things the right way, started teaching guys how to be professionals, held people to a higher standard. Kurt Warner joined, and they freaking built a team and lost, but got to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it takes. It's a cultural thing there. And the Lions do not have the leadership from the top to go down. And they've never really had anybody down on that level that's been able to penetrate to the top to get them to change the actual culture of the organization.
I thought Patricia would bring in a little bit of the Bill Belichick vibe and kind of change things.
Nope.
He didn't. They needed, who would have been really good?
Let me tell you why you're wrong.
Bill Cowher would have been.
No. Let me tell you why you're wrong on that. Name one of Bill Belichick's coaches that's been super successful anywhere they go.
None. You're right.
Because they try and be Bill Belichick, except they don't have the freaking Super Bowl credentials to be Bill Belichick. So after a couple of years, the first year or two, everybody's like, he's pretty smart. After that, everybody just thinks he's a giant dickhead. But when they think Bill Belichick's a dickhead, he goes, I may be a dickhead, but look at all the bling I got.
Bling,
and
bling.
It gives him credibility. Patricia, Bill O'Brien, Romeo Crennel, Charlie Weiss, Josh McDaniels, the list goes on and on and on. They don't have the credentials that Bill Belichick has, but they think they get to act like Bill Belichick. They haven't earned the credibility yet.
Yeah, it's a typical year to be a Lions fan. But
Jim Caldwell got fired after going 9-7. Matt Patricia is 9-28.
I didn't understand the Caldwell firing. I really didn't.
I didn't like it when they hired him, but I hated it even worse when they fired him.
Yeah, but it's clearly a lack of leadership, like you said, from the top down. To give up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter when you're winning, I mean, you're winning the game. You're in control.
And Matt Patricia's supposed to be a defensive coach.
And you give up – that's an undisciplined team. Where's Jocko Willink when we need him? Get Jocko over there and get him on these guys.
So for all you MMA fans that don't care about the NFL, that are boycotting it for whatever reason or whatever, there is your spill on the Detroit Lions and the dysfunction that is the Detroit Lions.
Should we talk about MMA now?
I mean,
do you still want to rant on the Lions?
Not on the Lions. Did you watch football yesterday? I know a lot of people are saying they did it.
You know, I think a lot of people are saying it, but
I had the red zone on, but I had it on mute all day. We didn't listen to anything.
Yeah, I didn't really listen to it. I was reading and watching, but I mean, it's come on.
I still love football.
You can spin it however you want, but let's face it, like
I still love
America
football.
Needs sports. We need it. We need it right now. That's the one thing that can bring everybody together is sports. Whether you believe what those guys are saying,
people even further.
It is, but it should be the one thing that brings us together. You don't see that. You don't see that division in MMA. Why is that? A little more respect, a little more of a.
They're independent contractors.
Yeah, that's true too. Anyway, I won't go off on that. That's not what this podcast is about. So.
They're independent contractors. I've had people ask me the same thing, and everybody's like, "I'm done. I'm not watching the NBA. I'm not watching the NFL. I'm not watching this."
But you don't see.
I'm like, watch MMA. It's great because guess what? The politics don't really bleed into it. We don't.
You don't see people bringing in politics. Well, Colby Covington brings it in there, but that's kind of his. I think that's
WWE character.
That's his character. Yeah, that's his thing. I don't think he's bringing it into. He's serious about it. You know. I mean. Yeah.
He even admitted he didn't know anything about Donald Trump until he started becoming hated, and that's when he's like, "I'm gonna hook my."
It's been great for him. I mean, look, he just posted a video with him and Donald Trump yesterday. Wasn't it yesterday?
I know. So I mean, but I like it. You know, I mean, the most political again, our boy Bobby Green, who did just fight.
Yeah.
He posted that video about racism with his dad, the guy that was his foster father, and considers his dad and who's in his corner for his fights now. You know, Bobby Green is a black athlete in the UFC and his dad's a white guy that fostered him. And him talking about judging people based off their character rather than the color of their skin and stuff. That's about as political as it's gotten, like while watching the UFC. And that was a great message. So,
yeah, I'm kind of on the fence because a part of me is like, hey, you know, these guys should be able to express themselves. But on the flip side, it's like, on the flip side of it's like, you know, if you're a paying customer, if you're paying for something, like I kind of want to see the best that you put on the field. I don't know. It's just it's a touchy situation. And like I said, I don't care either way what they do. As long as they play the game and it's fun and it's good. And that's all I really care about.
I tune into sports to get a break from everything else and enjoy and appreciate athletes being able to do what I wish I could do.
Yeah.
I love the game. You know, I love the game.
I love the competition.
Love the competition at a high level athletes competing that's as enjoyable as it gets.
I will go on a slight rant about one sport that I'm not particularly a fan on that was on Friday night. And it was the bare knuckle fighting. I can't get into it, man. I cannot get into it. I
mean, let's just preface in saying the weekend was just full.
Dude, Friday night you had
fights.
ONE FC, you had LFA, you had Bellator, you had bare knuckle. I'm switching between all 4 of those. Like, just flipping through. But the bare knuckle thing, it seems like that's the place that fighters go when their careers are over. Like they can't make it anymore in boxing or they can't make it anymore in the UFC. So they go to a bare knuckle. I mean, I'm watching, the main event was Thiago Alves and I think the guy's Jeremy Lane.
Lane.
It was Lane.
Julian Lane. He's the let me bang bro guy on the Ultimate Fighter.
And it was look, I thought it was a competitive fight, but man, every one of these fights, these guys are getting sliced open, and I don't see the longevity in that you see in like a boxing or a MMA. And I know you're going to get cut, you can get hurt, but you're the chances of you getting cut in a bare knuckle fight are very high compared to an MMA or a boxing, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean, am I wrong? Am I being a bitch about this? Like, I just can't get into it.
First and foremost, yes, you are. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't be a bitch.
Yeah. No, it's the problem I have with bare knuckle boxing is not the brutality of it or anything like that. It's that I feel like the sport is taking advantage of guys that other promoters, and I mean, it's not like fight promoters are saints by any means. You know, they're going to squeeze every dollar they can out of those fighters before they let them go, before they let them go out to pasture. Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like the bare knuckle boxing guys are exploiting guys that should be done. And that's what I feel like. I feel like it's exploitation. You have these guys that don't know how to call it quits because that's all they've ever done. And so people are trying to look out for them and say, no, you're done. Like, we are not signing you to fight anymore. You're done.
Yeah.
And they're trying to do the right thing for their long-term health and safety. And then here comes bare knuckle boxing. They're like, we'll still let you do what you love and pay you a little bit of money, you know? And I do not like that. And I know that that's not 100% the case, but those big names, that's the case. You know, they're trying to get, you know, Jason Knight, Artem Lobov.
Yeah.
That was their biggest thing. That's two guys that got cut by the UFC because they're just not good enough.
Paige Van Zandt.
That's different too. But that one breaks my heart because,
I mean, do you really want to see Paige Van Zandt in a bare knuckle fight?
No, not even a little bit.
Neither do I.
And to the point where I say this all the time in UFC. I don't want to see this fight, but I'm going to watch, you know, like Brock Lesnar and whoever. I'm like, Brock Lesnar doesn't deserve a title fight, or John Jones and da-da-da. And I think John would smoke him, but guess what? I'm going to watch, you know, and there's those. And then bare knuckle fighting, I watched it twice to give it a chance. I'm not going to watch Paige Van Zandt do it.
I
tune in to watch her on Bellator. I tune in and watch her on ONE FC.
I don't know why.
To watch her on Glory Kickboxing or something else, but bare knuckle fighting, I just doesn't.
I'm really surprised Bellator didn't step up with that. That would have been a huge signing for Bellator. I think getting her name on there would have been big. I would have much rather seen her there than in bare knuckle.
I think they're a little financially strapped for cash right now, my friend.
That could be true too. There's a guy that I know, if we both follow on social media, that's connected with the bare knuckle stuff. I don't know if he listens to the podcast. If he does, reach out. I'd like to have him on just to see. Maybe he can give us a little more insight. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, but the other thing is too, is we love the sport of MMA, right? Like kickboxing and stuff. Like bare knuckle boxing, like it's not. I mean, it's a more violent version. Their premises is why they think it's going to be big is because we love violence.
Yeah, but
for me, it's not. I don't love violence. I love competition, and it goes back to, like we said, watching athletes compete at a high level. It's the competition. I don't necessarily just want to see a bloodbath every single fight.
And I love, for the record, I love boxing. I love a good box. In fact, I just sent you the thing with Lomachenko's fighting Teofimo Lopez. That's a great fight.
Great fight.
Like, I love boxing. If there's a good boxing match on, I'm watching. I'm watching the pay-per-views if it's a good match. But yeah, I just can't get into. It seems like there's a lack of skill there, and I'm not trying to discredit these guys that do that at all. So if you're listening and you do that, I'm not discrediting what it takes to get in there and what it takes to do that stuff. So yeah, if there's somebody out there, if I think the guy's name's Paul, if you're listening, reach out. Let's get him on here. Talk about it.
I'm just gonna say this. It's not because of a lack of skill, because Paige Van Zant has some skills. I feel like it's a waste of. I feel like in a big part of it, it's a waste of their training. Right?
Yeah,
They train to become mixed martial artists, and then they just go in there with wrist wraps basically and just throw hands.
Do you know that Thiago Alves trains at, what was it, American Top Team? Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
They have a whole section that's geared towards bare knuckle now. Like they have like their MMA guys and they have their bare knuckle guys. Like Thiago Alves trains specifically for bare knuckle. They were talking about it on the thing. Like he doesn't, because he doesn't have to worry about kicks. He doesn't have to worry about takedowns. There's specific things and specific rules, and I don't know them all, but they were talking about it on the broadcast on Friday night about how they have their own bare knuckle division at American Top Team. Well, they just had the open tryouts down there
in Kansas.
Yeah, which one of our local guys, Rowdy Akers, just went down there to try out for. You know, for a guy like him, dude, props to him if he can get on there and do that and make a little bit of money for himself. Props to him.
I'm all for people making money, but at the same time, and I love Rowdy, and he knows that I love him, and I'll support him. And I shared his post to try that it was when he tried to raise money, and I love him, but you know, like Rowdy's in his 40s.
Yeah, he's close to my age.
And there's a reason why promoters locally are trying to encourage him to retire and be done. There's a reason for that. It's because they care about him and you know, I mean, I'm sorry that it found fighting later in life. So did I. And he found it even, I think, later than I did. But, you know, you have a time shelf as an athlete.
Oh, yeah. Listen,
and the answer to me is not going in bare knuckle boxing.
I can attest to, once you get over 40, which I'm going to be 45 in January, your body doesn't recover like it did. I mean, I can tell you right now, 5 years ago, my whole lifting regimen, my whole training regimen is totally different than it is now. My body just doesn't respond like it used to.
And if I could look physically like Rowdy looks when I'm in my mid 40s, I would be stoked because he's in phenomenal shape.
Yeah, he's always in great shape.
Hard.
And he's a tough guy. I mean, it's not like he doesn't bring it when he fights. Do we even want to? I don't even really care about Bellator Friday night. We had Machida and
who won that fight? I didn't watch.
What's his name won?
Phil Davis won.
He split decision too, and I think we talked about it.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't watch the fight. I think it was boring. I didn't really care for that Bellator card. Although I did care about Saturday's Bellator card. The co-main and the main event were pretty freaking good. John Fitch, Neiman Gracie.
That was fun. I thought the coolest part about that was when Gracie was digging for his heel hook and stuff. John Fitch was talking to him, and they were kind of talking smack to each other, and it was a pretty cool sign of respect. And then obviously John Fitch retired after he's had a super long career, fought just about everybody, one of the greatest welterweights of all time. It's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then the main event was, man, if you're not paying attention to Patchy Mix and Juan Archuleta, you missed a damn good technical fight. Patchy Mix is like a freaking spider monkey, dude. He was all over him, trying for submissions.
For a 5-round fight, that was one of the very few where I watched. Like those guys could hang with just about it. Juan Archuleta could hang with just about anybody in the UFC, and I'm saying in the 135 division, that's a big. I feel like that's a big compliment.
That fight was we've talked about it before on here. The experienced guy against the young up and coming guy.
We saw
Patchy
it.
Mitch, young, up and coming, undefeated.
Killer.
I mean, came out like on fire those first 2 rounds. And Juan Archuleta had a game plan, and you could see he stuck with that game plan from the first round on. He stuck with it. He knew Patchy Mitch was going to be tough. He knew he was going to go for submissions early on. Ooh, and those body shots. His body's got to be.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody consistently be able to rip body shots like that throughout a fight.
Man, there was one time, there was one moment where he got off like 4 or 5 right in a row.
And toughness to Patchy. A lot of guys go down to those, You could see it. It was wearing on his face, though. He didn't like that.
Oh, yeah. By the 5th round, he was like, ooh, these are starting to add up. Anyways, great fight. Congratulations to Juan Archuleta. Now let's get to the big show, baby. UFC.
Well, do you want me to state the obvious?
Yeah, go right ahead.
I have not seen one person on social media that thought Michelle Waterson won that fight. Have you? Have you seen one person that thought that she won that fight?
I've seen a couple people on there, and I've had a chance to think about it a little bit, and it was a close fight. It wasn't a 49-46 fight like the one judge had. I don't know what the hell fight. That was ridiculous. That was, yeah. There's no way she won 4 rounds. Like that was just flat out ridiculous.
It was a close fight, and it was.
Do you think that the beginning of that 5th round, the way that Waterson came out, she was more energetic. She's yelling in the corner. Do you think that kind of played into that a little bit? Like she seemed to have a little bit more pep in her step.
I hope the judges aren't that dumb.
I hope not either, but I don't know if that could have played a little bit into it, because that was a close round too. I mean, as much as I think Hill won the fight, and I thought she won that 5th round, he probably could have made a case that
if Michelle would have won it 48-47 split decisions all across the board,
yeah,
I would have. It sucks. I feel for Angela Hill. Like this is. Look at Michelle Waterson's face. Look at Angela Hill's face after the fight, and tell me who won a fight. I understand Scott Bowler. I know that they're scoring and there's judging criteria, and I understand that. But there's got to be some sort of element of I'm looking at fighter A and I'm looking at fighter B, and at the end of 5 rounds, I can look at their faces and I can look at their injuries, and I can tell you who won and who lost that fight.
She clearly did more damage, so. I mean,
and it was the same thing with Claudia Godeja.
Yeah.
Angela pieced her up.
Yeah.
And somehow lost the fight. And I mean, I just feel for Angela Hill. And full disclosure, I am rooting for Michelle Waterson in that fight. I like Michelle Waterson. That's who as a fan, that's who I wanted to see win the fight. Because I'm a fan of hers, and Angela Hill's voice drives me absolutely nuts. And anytime we don't have to listen to it, it's a good thing.
Yeah, don't want to listen to that.
But Angela Hill, I thought she won that fight, man. Like, I don't. It was a close fight. It was a good fight. But I think I felt like she pretty clearly won 3 of those rounds.
I think this would be a good case for open scoring for those fighters to be able to see going into that 5th round where they stand. I mean, I've heard it said before, what other sport do you not know what the score is going into the 4th quarter? Can you imagine playing football and not knowing if you're up or down going into the 4th quarter? So
remember how we talked about, I think somebody said they'd be worried about coasting if the score was posted, that if a fighter found out he was up, 3 rounds 0 or 4 rounds 0, they would coast.
I think you may see that, but you see that anyways. You see that regardless.
So what if you just posted it right before? All you posted it was right before the last round.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
if it's a 3-round fight, you don't post it after the first round. You only post it after the second round. 5-round fight, you post the judges' scorecards. So right at the end of the 4th round, 20 seconds, the fighter can look up and be like, oh, I'm down 2 rounds right now. I am down 3-1. I have to get to finish this fight, this round.
It definitely changes the fight, but I don't think, I mean, that argument of people are going to coast, guys that are winning 2 rounds out of 3 and they know they won,
they're coasting.
A lot of them are coasting anyways, with the exception.
Or a lot of them are going for stoppages to try and get.
They want to get money, fight of the night money, and there's incentives for them to finish fights and be impressive. So, yeah. Anyways, that was a good. I mean, overall, it was a great card. Kamara Worthy, Adman Azatar, who's getting the fight soon. I heard Dana White say he's going to Fight Island. He'll be fighting again soon, very soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, to ragdoll Kamara Worthy like that is pretty impressive because people are pretty high on Kamara.
He put it on him.
Roxanne Modafferi comes up with the big upset win again.
Dude, you know Roxanne?
That's kind of what she does.
The first person in the UFC to be a plus 200 underdog in 3 fights and win them. She's in 3 different fights. She has been a plus 200 or more underdog, and she's come out and win. And
how big of an underdog was she against Macy Barber?
It was more than a plus 200.
I think it was like plus 400 or something crazy like that.
She was plus 230. I know because I won a little bit of money.
Oh yeah, you wagered on it, didn't you?
She's tough. She's durable. She's tough. She's not the most athletic woman in there when she's fighting, but she's tough and she brings it.
Yeah.
She keeps coming forward. She's good on the ground. Yeah, I was impressed.
It's because she's a nerd.
She does look like she watches like Harry Potter.
She does. She's an anime. Like she's a huge anime fan.
Oh man.
And Rico Valdez.
That was a
Rico. Guess. Rico, if you're listening, that's a shot at you too. Anime's for nerds, bro.
Oh man.
I just say it out of love. I don't really care. I do. I used to follow WWE. It's as nerdy as it gets. It's all good.
A little controversy in the fight before that one on Ed Herman and Mike Rodriguez. Holy crap.
No, there's no controversy. The ref blew it.
Yeah, the ref blew it. Yeah.
But I will say this. Ed Herman is a veteran. He's been doing this for a long time. Okay? And I mean, we've talked about it time and time again. We've talked about it. My fight. We've talked about other fights. Our job is to fight until the ref tells us to stop.
It wasn't his fault. He didn't even he grabbed his stomach and went down. It wasn't like he didn't fake it. He didn't fake anything. He just folded over.
He faked it after the ref had already stopped it and told him to take his 5 minutes. Then he had 5 minutes. Then you could see him, he'd grab his cup and adjust it and stuff and whatever. But at that point, it's not on Ed Herman. He did his job. I saw some people going after him like, Ed Herman, that's it.
No, you can't.
What do you want him to do? Be like, nah, man, I was hurt. I was out. That was a legal shot. Dude, when you're rocked and you're drained like that too, by the way.
Yeah.
I believe him when he said in his post-fight interview, he goes, I don't know if it was in the stomach or it was in the groin.
Yeah.
He goes, I just know I was hurting.
Yeah.
I 100% believe him.
I do too.
That wasn't his fault. And big props to anybody. I'm pretty pro Dana White. I like Dana White, and I know a lot of people don't, but I do like Dana White. Did the right thing, paid Mike Rodriguez his win money, as well as Ed Herman's. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah, that's stand up. That's a stand up guy there.
I thought that was pretty cool. But Ed Herman, with the slick Kimura in the 3rd round when it looked like it was over. You know what's crazy? That was the exact thing that we drilled at One Hit Saturday morning.
It's crazy.
The Kimuras, and when they're grabbing their leg like that to stop it, how to to get them to let go and create the space to be able to get it back behind their back. Yeah. And Ed Herman basically did what we drilled, which that was kind of fun. But not Ed Herman's fault. Sucks super bad for Mike Rodriguez. Ed Herman's on a 3-fight win streak now.
It's crazy.
What was he on? Season 3?
3 or something like that?
No, season 2. It was Ken Shamrock, Tito Ortiz.
14 years he's been in. Like, that's The guy's been fighting forever.
And he still has the fire too, it's cool.
Did you, and then, well, the next fight was Bobby Green looked impressive again.
Yeah. No, Bob, yeah.
Bobby Green, he beat Alan Patrick.
He's going to be in the top 15 soon.
It's good for him. He's kind of resurrected his career, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's causing problems for people. We're seeing this, and I actually had this thought after the Kamaru Worthy fight. I think this COVID stuff and we're seeing a lot of these guys cycle through and fight more frequently than normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's been like six fighters.
Kamaru Worthy is one of those guys. We've seen him quite a few times here during this COVID thing, right? Yep. Might have been just a little bit of his body's never had a break.
Yeah, could have been.
Bobby Green been around a lot longer, veteran, probably doing some. I see. He seems pretty prepared for it. Like he's doing a really good job. Billy Quarantino had a really nice knockout. Nice clean, just 1-2, and just Kyle Nelson was gassed. He was done.
He was gassed. He was gassed after the first round. He was gassing.
Sarge Eubanks was a big underdog. Came away with a win.
She was a big underdog, yeah. And probably the biggest underdog was Kevin Kroom. How about that?
Was he a huge underdog?
He came in 1 day notice. 1 day notice. He tweeted he had $67 in his account, 60 something dollars in his account, $64 in his account. And he goes in and he gets a freaking bonus of the night for nobody was giving him a chance against Roosevelt Robert. Nobody.
Dude, he dropped him right off the bat, sunk in. And
did you hear his post-fight interview?
That guillotine was nasty. No,
they're like, hey, how often do you practice that move? And he's like, never. I never do it. He trains with Anthony Smith, right?
Yeah.
Anthony Smith was talking him up. I was listening to one of the interviews afterwards, and Anthony Smith's like, yeah, he's a good guy. He's funny, jokes.
I just saw James Krause was in his corner, so I just automatically give him some legitimacy. I like James Krause a lot. All those guys that train with that group, they're tough dudes.
Probably the mismatch of the night was Romanov and Martinez.
That was crazy. He was so much bigger.
Wow. Yeah, that was.
How did that guy get in the UFC?
I have no clue. No clue. I'm surprised he made it out of the first round. I know a lot of people, if you're a betting man, were betting that was going out of the first round.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Freak. Come on, Romanov, do your job. Get him out in the first round.
And then he grabs his coach and slams him. That was awesome, too.
That was pretty funny. That was pretty cool. Jalen Turner kind of worked Brock Weaver.
Jalen Turner. Did you see his freaking weigh-in with his tarantula?
Yeah. I'm out.
Yeah.
Jalen Turner, stay far away from me forever. I'm out.
It sounds like he's getting an American Bully, though, from some kennel that he follows on Twitter that told him they'd give him a free dog if he won.
Oh, no kidding.
So he's getting the dog, I guess. Who else do we have? When we finished up, well, we started off, we're finishing up. Barberino, I didn't see those first two fights.
Brian Barberino, he's tough. He's a tough dude. He kind of dominated the fight, did what he had to do. He had to, just a better fighter against Anthony Ivy. And the Justine Kish got submitted it's pretty rough.
Yeah, she was actually doing pretty well in that fight, wasn't she?
It was a pretty close fight. It was pretty close, but yeah. I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, it wasn't super entertaining. But
yeah, I missed that when I was at a birthday party, so I didn't get it.
Got the finish.
Dude, this weekend coming up, it's a big fight weekend.
Time out real quick before we get into this weekend's fights.
All right.
We got some disappointing news over the weekend.
What did we get?
UFC has decided they are not going to pay Dustin Poirier what he wants to be paid to fight Tony Ferguson.
Saw that. I don't get, man. Did you see Tony Ferguson out tweeting, telling him to pay him?
Pay
Tony's the type of guy that'll try to get his opponent more money. Somebody tweeted that. Dustin Poirier tweeted it, retweeted it. How can you not pay Dustin Poirier?
Well, I posted it in the group this morning. But for those that aren't in the group, if you listen and you guys would like to know,
I mean, he's
Poirier
obviously a huge fan favorite, but how much of a draw is Dustin Poirier?
I think
is he kind of in the Donald Cerrone realm?
Yeah, except he wins.
Yeah, but
I don't think that's really fair to.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I don't understand how don't pay this guy.
I mean, how many fight of the nights has he
ready?
Gotten? Yeah.
You ready for this?
List it off.
His last 8 fights, okay? Fight of the night, fight of the night, fight of the night, fight of the night, performance of the night. Okay, so there's 5. Fight of the night and won the interim belt. Right?
Yeah.
Title shot versus Khabib, lost, but actually had a pretty good showing, I thought. And then fight of the night against Dan Hooker. That's his last 8 fights.
I don't know I'd like to know what he was asking for and what the UFC was offering is what I'd like to know before we make.
So what do we have to do to get somebody paid? Because here's the other thing. You know what we've also learned with Dustin Poirier? He's not greedy. He's not trying to. I think this is more in line with the UFC, the whole Conor, John Jones, all of this stuff. We're not Jorge Masvidal, right? We're not renegotiating contracts right now with the COVID stuff, right? That's what Dana said. We're in the middle of a pandemic. You know, we don't get ticket sales, runs down.
Is Ferguson Poirier a main event or is it a fight night? Is it a pay-per-view or is it a fight night?
It was a co-main. Because there's a title fight for that.
On a co-main on a pay-per-view or on a fight night?
Pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view.
So yeah, no, it was supposed to be the co-main to Khabib and Gaethje.
Oh, was it? Was that supposed to be the co-main?
Right?
I don't remember now.
Yeah. I think it was the co-main to Khabib and Gaethje.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to know what the UFC offered him before I make any.
Or was it UFC 253?
I don't remember.
Was it 250? Dang it, Jason.
I don't remember.
I'm going to find it real quick.
But
I'm just saying. So, okay. But so if they don't do it, who would, it's UFC 254. They're supposed to be the co-main to Khabib and Justin Gaethje. So the UFC says that it's not salvageable. We're moving on. We're fighting Tony a new fight. Who else is there to fight Tony? FYI, Conor McGregor is not fighting for a co-main under Khabib and Justin Gaethje.
Holloway? Does he move up?
I don't want to. Dude, Poirier beat him pretty bad for the interim title, 155 title, right? Mm-hmm. He's lost 2 in a row at featherweight. I don't think I want to see that.
So he's
at one time I would have said yes, absolutely. I don't think I want to see that right now.
Yeah, who else would there be for him to fight? You could put him in maybe
Charles Oliveira. He's on
maybe
a super long winning streak.
You don't throw him in with some of these younger guys. There's some young up and coming guys, but I don't see any of those guys.
Got to be a top 10.
Felder? No.
Why not? That's all Felder said he's coming back for, is to fight those top tier guys. That would be a top tier guy. It would be a violent fight. Why not?
Yeah, Poirier Ferguson was the fight. Hooker's got a fight, doesn't he? Dan Hooker, Ferguson, or
Jeez.
Charles Oliveira. Those.
One of those two. That would be awesome.
It's got to be one of those two, I would think. Who else would they put him up there against? I mean, I don't think they'd dip any lower than that in the rankings.
No.
I mean, I think he rolls through everybody else, honestly. Just my opinion. But I don't know how you don't pay Dustin Poirier. I don't know how you don't pay him. I don't know how if you're Dana White, you can't not pay the guy unless he was asking for something ridiculous.
But that's the thing. I don't think Dustin's that guy. I don't think Dustin's that guy that's asking for something ridiculous.
He's paid his dues. He should get paid.
Yeah, he's paid his dues. 100% that dude has paid his dues. Like pay that guy.
Pay the guy his money.
Pay that man his money.
So what do you think about this week's card coming up? Colby Covington.
Okay.
Woodley. Can we talk about that now? Can we talk about it? Did we miss something from last weekend?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Who do you got?
Who do you think wins that?
I think Colby mops the floor with him. I don't think it's close.
What are the odds?
Colby's like a 4-1 favorite, 3.5 to 1 favorite, I think. Obviously, Woodley's has a puncher's chance. I don't see it happening, though. I think Colby, he's going to outpace him. Woodley's,
so we've heard this for a couple fights now that Woodley's going to let his hands go. He promises his fans he's going to let his hands go. And Den Thomas sent out this awesome tweet. I think I sent it to you.
That was amazing.
About going to your dark place, and we're in this dark place, and we're going to get it. And here's the thing. Woodley has got to be sick of, excuse my French, but everybody just calling him a little bitch all the time. He's got to be sick of it. I mean, you should send him a shirt, one of your shirts that you're wearing right now. Like, he's got to be tired of it. And at some point, it's you got to crap or get off the bucket. This is that fight for him. This is make or break for him, and he knows it.
Yeah.
If he does this again, where he can't pull the trigger against Usman, couldn't pull the trigger against Gilbert Burns, and then he meets up with Colby Covington, who's the most hated guy in the UFC, and Woodley can't stand him, begging for this fight, and he can't pull the trigger to try and knock this guy out, it's over. That's a career. It's a wrap.
Well, like Den Thomas says, it's at one point you're 25 and you want to eat a person's eyeballs. The next thing you know, you're 40 and you're like, I'd rather take the guy to dinner. It seems like that's where the point he's gotten to, where he just doesn't have that. He doesn't have that. Maybe it does because of the dislike for Colby Covington. I don't know, but I still think maybe Woodley comes out and wins round one, but that's it. Maybe, but I don't see that happening. But I'm just throwing that out there.
I just cannot get the image out of my head of when Tyron smoked Robbie Lawler, which in my opinion was the beginning of Robbie Lawler not looking like Robbie Lawler anymore.
Yep.
And I just keep holding on to that. If that Tyron Woodley can let that nuke of a right hand go with the force that he is capable of doing it with, he's got to turn into that savage again and not the guy that's just there to win a fight to keep his belt, because that's what he turned into. They get to the top and they lose that killer savage instinct.
Let's just say he does come out with that fury in that fight. Does he still win the fight? You think he wins?
Yep.
I still don't think he wins. Well, he wins.
I mean, that's why we're going to watch it. But because I think that Tyron Woodley gives Usman a fight. Like, I think that Tyron Woodley That Tyron Woodley, people forget, he was one of the best welterweights ever.
I think I forgot after the last 2 fights.
Fine.
I'm horrible. I mean, when you go 0-10 in rounds, you don't win a round in.
You got to do the same thing with him that you do with Colby.
Yeah.
People love or hate Colby because of his out of the cage antics.
Yes.
But you got to look at his body of work in the cage, and that dude can fight. Right?
He can fight.
Take away Tyron. Tyron is annoying. He's whiny. His rapping sucks. He's not that great on the broadcast booth. Like, he's gotten mopped for 2 straight fights. Like, and I get that. And you could say he got mopped for 2 straight fights. At least that's in the cage. But people want to take those other 4 things and say he's done. I think that he can. I mean, maybe Colby definitely should be the favorite and probably will win and stuff. But I think if that dude that throws nukes comes out, I shouldn't say I think he wins, but I think if that guy comes out, I think it's a 50-50 fight, coin flip at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is I want to see Colby Covington come out to one of his songs. That's all I care about. If he comes out to one of Tyron's rap songs, that is going to make my night. I could see Colby coming out to something like that.
That would be a all-time gangster move.
The rest of this card, though, is, I mean, how is this not a pay-per-view, man? You got Nico Price, Donald Cerrone, co-main event. Who do you like in that one? You think Nico beats Cerrone into retirement? Or do you think Cerrone? I do too. I'm surprised the line's not more on that fight. I kind of want to throw money in right now on that because I think Nico Price mops him up pretty easy. And then
Jason just tweeted to Colby Covington.
I hope he answers. I hope he sees it.
Oh, that's funny. Jason just tweeted Colby asking him to come out to one of Tyron Woodley's songs.
Please. Oh, man. But, yeah, I think Nico Price beats Cerrone. I don't think Cerrone's,
Bad. I said it when we saw this fight announced. We both said it. This is a bad fight for Donald. It's getting to the point where I'm worried. I'm worried he's going to turn into a bare knuckle boxing guy.
Oh, you know what, man? You're probably spot on that.
I'm really concerned with that. That Dana's going to be like, enough, Donald, enough, and he's like, cool. And even Scott Coker's like, nah, like, no, you've had a billion fights. No, you're good. And then bare knuckle boxing's like, we'll take you.
I mean, it's a pretty even odds wise, and maybe this is because people like Cerrone so much and he's so popular. I mean, it's a pretty even fight, money odds wise. I think
Nico's too big for him too. Nico's a true welterweight.
I think I just empty the account on Nico Price, man.
I think you should empty the account on the next guy on the card.
On Ryan Spann and Johnny Walker?
No.
Oh, the odds aren't up on that one.
They're not even going to give us odds because
they're not even. Do you think he walks through?
Mine is 4,000.
Do you think he walks through him?
No, I don't. I actually do not, because Gerald Merchant is a true middleweight. And here's the other thing. This whole him bouncing, this is the craziest thing about him. This bouncing between middleweight and welterweight like it's nothing. Okay? But Chimaev is fighting a true middleweight. Gerald Merchant's a big middleweight, a full-size middleweight. Did we talk about this already on this podcast? The amount of disrespect.
We did on the last one. We did talk about a little bit.
That he's got to be feeling like, dude.
And hey, Merchant's been around for a while. This is his 45th professional fight. 45th professional fight.
Do you think that guy gets ragdolled by this kid?
And he's got a little bit of bulletin board material because of all this. Like, man, I mean, when the odds do come out, I might be tempted to throw a little bit on Gerald on pulling the upset. I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm with you. That's where
I've seen stranger
I'm at.
things. It's like, gosh, this guy's a veteran. I mean, he's fighting.
Seen stranger things. What about that? What about
seen,
that gal last weekend that was or 2 weeks ago, the Croatian chick that came out and then gassed out and lost?
Yes. Yep. We've seen Chimaev against two people that are no names. Like, I mean, he's getting a test now. He's getting a veteran right now. He wins this fight. I mean,
if he walks through Merchant and then Damian Maia, he is. I'm saying it right now. He walks through those two. They're going to feed Leon Edwards to him, and then he's going to get a title shot.
And whoever is the champ
at 170,
better watch out.
At 170,
I don't care who it is. Usman,
he's going to he'll defend it one time.
Yeah,
and he's going to go right after Israel Adesanya or whoever's the 185 champ.
Yeah. I'll wait to see the odds come out on this one. But if it's heavy, which I think it will be, I might throw $20 on the underdog.
I'll say this. I'll bet Merchant is at least a 10-1 underdog.
Yeah, I don't know.
So if you tell me I could put $20 to win $200 on a fighter in a UFC fight, I'll take that every time. Because weird things happen in that cage.
Yeah, I think, I'm excited to see it. Johnny Walker, Ryan Spann next. What do you think on that fight?
Isn't Johnny Walker like on a 3-fight losing streak? I mean, right?
What's that?
Is it Johnny Walker on a 3-fight losing streak?
I think he is.
Pause it.
All right, I'm going to pause it for a second. Good. And we're back after a little small delay. Yeah, Johnny Walker's on a 2-fight. He's lost 2 fights.
Lost 3 out of his last 4?
No, actually, he's lost to Corey Anderson. He lost to Nikita Krovlov, but before that, he beat Misha Surcom. Right. He beat my boy Justin Ledet, Khalil Roundtree. Like, he was on a roll.
He was on a roll, but his hype train got stopped a little bit.
Corey Anderson, I think, kind of derailed that. And then he loses that decision. Ryan Spann's going to be a tough fight for him.
It is a tough fight for him.
Isn't Ryan Spann a wrestler?
Yeah. But, right.
Ryan Spann was a college wrestler, wasn't he?
I believe so. His last one was a split win decision over Smiling Sam Alvey.
Yeah.
Good. It'll be a good fight. We'll see. You have your girl, Mackenzie Dern.
Wonder if let's see what she's got. Is she coming off a loss, or did she win her last fight?
I think she won. She won her last fight. She lost the one before that.
You know, it's going to be this Kevin Holland, Darren Stewart's going to be a good fight. That'll be a good one. That's going to
be a really good fight.
Kevin Holland's a pretty big favorite in that one too. Which Darren Stewart's no slouch, man.
No, he's not.
I mean, he just beat who did he just beat?
Patillo. That Patillo.
Yeah. Micah Patillo, Maki Patillo, yeah.
And then Holland had that knockout win over that Buckley kid who took the fight on 6 days' notice from his LFA win. It's going to be good. And you're getting these guys, again, I'm just throwing this out there. You're getting these guys that are doing ridiculously fast turnarounds and some of them cutting too much weight too frequently. It's very interesting.
Yeah. What do we got? What's on the undercard of this one? Let's see the prelims. Prelims on this one is Jordan Espinoza and David Vork. TJ Laramie. Wasn't he just on? TJ Laramie was just on Contender, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Just a Contender guy.
You like seeing these Contender guys get these jumps right in here right away?
Yeah. Yes and no. We just find out really quick, if they're ready. Those Contender Series fights, some of them, we've talked about it. Some of the matchmaking is a little suspicious on Contender Series sometimes. But there's a lot of killers on that show, and there's a lot of killers that have come from that show. And, man, I'm not one that's big for quick turnaround fights. I don't think it's super healthy. I feel like fighting and cutting weight, there's variables, right?
If you're not cutting that much weight, if you're cutting if you're
cutting less than 10 pounds, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I could probably do that every couple of weeks and probably be fine. And these guys are way better athletes than I am, and they're way better shape. But, there's people that don't like coaches that don't like to take short notice fights for a reason.
Yeah.
But if you're always in shape and you're healthy, if you're in shape and you're healthy, I guess. I just feel like Dana, he's done this, the guys that are willing to fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, those are my type of guys and I'll take care of them. And so people are trying to be those type of guys.
Yeah.
I just hope they're not doing it at the detriment of their career, because sometimes those guys should be like, not this time.
Yeah. Who's the guy that just got cut not too long ago that took a short notice fight? And the kid that basically quit. Gosh, what was his name? It was just a couple months ago.
Oh, I can't.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Just kind of a short notice fight. He had a lot of hype, and Dana White cut him. It's like, screw you.
Nah. See, we don't. I think we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
We don't know the whole story with that.
Yeah.
I would be very, very surprised if that kid wasn't offered another shot and he said, no, I'm still not ready to fight. And then Dana just said, hey, listen, if you're not ready to fight at this level, we're just going to go ahead and release you. Go fight some more for LFA or whatever you need to do. And when you're ready, we'll have you back. I would imagine that's more how the conversation goes, because that kid taking that fight the way he did, and then Dana gave that kid props in the post-fight press conference saying, hey, listen, he took that fight on a day's notice. Like, I don't hold anything against that kid. I'm going to take Dana at his word and say that was not like a F you, we're cutting you. I would more take it. I would bet that there was some dialogue there that we just don't have.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably reading into it a little bit too much. I wanted to bring up something. I had a conversation with my wife this weekend, and I wanted to get your opinion on something.
Gosh, I hope it's not about parenting.
No, it's definitely not about parenting. It's about the fights, actually. It's about UFC. It's about the fights. Okay, so she brought up the fact that back in the day when you had your Matt Hughes and your George St. Pierre's, there wasn't very many fighters to follow. And she said nowadays it's hard for her to keep up because there's fights every weekend. You and I love it because we're huge MMA fans. But for a casual fan, she says it's hard for her to keep up with everything and all the different fighters that are coming in, because there's fights every week, where before it was once a month or once every other month you'd get to see a GSP or a Matt Hughes. Now it's, you get one guy and maybe he's on a hype train for a couple weeks or a couple months, but then he's derailed, and it's maybe the casual fans not following along maybe as much anymore. Do you think there's any truth to that, or can you see any of that?
I definitely see it, especially right now. This is crazy.
There
are fights every single weekend.
Multiple fights, and not just UFC. Like I just said it, Friday night you got LFA.
My wife was not happy when I was watching Deanna Bennett fight on the TV, and I'm watching Angela Hill, Michelle Waterson on my phone at the same time.
Hey, before you answer that, shout out to Deanna, who had a rough weight cut. We don't know the reasons behind it, and we won't speculate. But hey, she brought it to Liz in that fight.
It's a good fight.
It was a damn good fight.
She made a technical. She made a technical error when Liz jumped on her back and she was like tripoded up, and she didn't have a way to fight the hands. Liz veteran, been around for a long time.
And then maybe held on to that arm crank a little bit too long in that third round. Maybe. I don't know. My dog's sneezing behind me. I don't know if you can hear that or not.
But I thought she was a good fight, and I thought she was winning on the scorecards till she wasn't.
I think rumor has it she was up 2 points before that stoppage.
I think she was winning till she wasn't. So
Yep. Anyways,
good showing. But anyways,
sorry to interrupt you, but back to the multiple fights and the casual fan maybe not able to latch on to that one fighter anymore.
They don't need to. Well, they can latch onto that one fighter.
Yeah.
Why can't they?
Yeah, they can.
That's okay. There's people, I know people that
I love it.
I get asked all the time, when's Conor McGregor fighting? When's Nate Diaz fighting?
Yeah.
When's Jorge Masvidal fighting? When's Amanda Nunes fighting? They go through those names. It's like, oh, they're, this person's scheduled, or, oh, it looks like, maybe Jorge and Conor will fight next year, or maybe Jorge and Nate Diaz will fight first of next year, and we could speculate on those, and that's all that's all they want to know. And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's 100% fine. The beauty with MMA is they're gonna love who they love, but then there's almost like two fan bases. People call it the casuals versus the hardcores or whatever. No, it's the people who are fans of some of the fighters or people who are fans of the sport. Conor McGregor, like we've had this conversation. Conor McGregor goes away, I'm not watching the UFC any less.
Yeah.
John Jones goes away. We're still watching every weekend.
Still watching every weekend.
You know what I mean? Our watching isn't a product of who's fighting.
Yeah,
we love the sport.
Maybe it's
so people that are more casuals, or maybe like your wife who loved George St. Pierre, like a lot of women did and do. When they're not fighting, it kills it for them until somebody new catches their eye. And if you would like to get your wife interested, I hear Drew Dober is very popular with the ladies and just signed for a fight.
Maybe it's just our wives, because we're the guys that are at the family social gatherings watching on the UFC app. I know I was Saturday.
I'm the worst.
I'm at my daughter's sister's, it's my daughter's half sister, but we were at her birthday party. And I got the UFC app up and I'm watching and trying to talk to people and mingle, and yeah.
Well, at least you try and talk to people. I sit over in the corner with my phone and watch the fights. I'm like, and always from the corner you hear, oh, yeah. And people look at me and I'm like, it's cool. I just got dropped. It's cool.
Yeah, we stayed like an hour and a half, and Shaylee's stepdad was asking me about if we were going to stay because they were barbecuing. It was a big party for her. It was her 6th birthday. They were like, hey, are you going to stay? Nope. Got to go watch the fights. Main card's almost on. Sorry.
I do feel bad for my wife. She's married to a freaking lunatic.
Yeah. Sorry to our wives that
Sorry.
were MMA addicts. But hey.
That was the thing. It's like, it's not just because like that, her whole thing, right? She's like, well, at least when you like football, you had an off season. Like MMA is never off. I'm like, it's great.
And now football's back. So
now football's back.
We got MMAs on Fridays and Saturdays. We got football on Saturdays and Sundays. We might have to find time for the wives. Maybe we should get them on the podcast. Probably not a good idea.
Well, my wife does listen. So yeah.
Mine doesn't. I give her shit all the time. She's always critiquing and telling me all the things we should and shouldn't do. And I'm like, well,
Cherie,
wait a minute. You don't listen to the podcast, so
I'm gonna start.
You don't get a say.
She knows the words that I'm talking about. I'm gonna start using those words more.
Oh man. Well,
sorry, inside joke, but
yeah,
no, it's good. I think from the casual stand, I've been trying to encourage people. I'm like, a lot of people come full circle to what we kind of started the podcast with. I have a lot of people that are like, I am done watching sports. I'm done watching this. Da, 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 da. Like, well, if you miss sports, watch MMA.
Yeah.
It's on every weekend, right? There's no politics in it. We're just going to watch the sport. Like, educate yourself on what it is. I had somebody's like, man, I need a new hobby. I'm like, join an MMA gym. It's healthy. It's a good workout. And you just might fall in love with a new sport.
And if you were a fan 10, 15 years ago, the sport has just evolved so much that
here's one for you.
What's that?
Well, you're right. Go ahead. Make your point.
I was just going to say, now you're seeing they're all good fights. I mean, from the prelims on, before it was like, I don't care if I watch the prelims. Now we're glued to watching the prelims because of all these young up and coming fighters.
But just look at the evolution of the sport. Like the fact that Frankie Edgar used to be a 155er, dude, he's an average size bantamweight.
Yeah.
He's not even a huge bantamweight.
Yep.
He's an average size bantamweight now. That's, for those of you who don't know, that's 2 weight classes lower.
Yeah.
That's 20 pounds lower. He was the champ at. BJ Penn, I understand that he was really good. Jens Pulver really good. Like all those guys really good.
Chuck Liddell,
205. All those guys struggle in today's MMA.
they're not top. I don't even think they're top 10 in their weight classes. Chuck Liddell's not in the top 10 in the light heavyweight. Maybe the top 10. He's not in the top 5. He's not beating Reyes.
I'm not going that far. Now you're speculating against eras and stuff like that, and you're going to get the hardcores that are going to get really pissed at you.
Yeah, let's get it going.
You're getting these dudes that, 10, 15 years ago, even, like, dude, like those guys would get, they're not even fighting in the right weight classes to today's standard, And it's just evolved into something totally different. And I think it's better. I think the competition's better. Top to bottom, the roster I think UFC roster is approaching 700 fighters, and it is stock full of killers, and more people belong there than don't. And you were seeing less and less tough guys and more skilled athletes. I think it's better. But I'm gonna end with this throwback and a shout out to Jeremy Horn, who just won his fight over the weekend by a first round stoppage.
His 100th? It was his 100th
in Iowa.
Fight. Wasn't it
in
his
Iowa
100th pro fight, right?
Was it? I think he's over 100.
And I think he has another fight coming up soon. I think within the next week or two, he said it's not for sure.
Yeah.
How long has that guy been fighting for?
Forever. Dude,
15, 20 years? 20 years?
100
years?
Hey, Jason.
What is he?
You said 100th fight? Sir?
What is he?
He is 91-22-5.
Wow. Oh, man.
And that does not include last weekend's. So he is 92-22-5. That's 120 fights.
Scroll through his fights on Tapology.
It'll take you an hour, but go for it. It's crazy.
He's been fighting since 1996.
No, you know what my favorite is? Go look on Tapology on those nights where he had 3-4 fights in a night. Those are the best.
Oh, man. I don't know if anybody listening knows Jeremy Horn, but we need to get him on. Get him on.
Or where he fight. Okay, I mean, there's runs here. The year of 1998. He fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 times in 1 year. 1999. Oh, 1999 is even better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 21. 21 times in 1 year, 1999. 21 fights.
It's like twice a month.
And oh, by the way, people are like, well, whatever. He's just fighting Big Nog or Little Nog and Randy Couture and, just anybody and everybody that's ever been anything in MMA. He's fought them.
Yeah.
Forrest Griffin has a win over Forrest Griffin via head kick. It's pretty cool. Dean Lister, ever heard of him? Chael Sonnen, Anderson Silva, ever heard of him? Chael Sonnen again holds 2 wins over Chael. That's probably Josh Berkman. Wow. Josh Berkman's 16th fight. It was when he was 74-13.
It's crazy.
Lost to Chuck Liddell on the 3rd win over Chael Sonnen. Man, that Chael's gotta hate that.
Yeah.
Court McGee, Nate Marquardt, Dean Lister again. I mean, it's freaking awesome. It's freaking awesome.
And you got a chance to kind of be in the same ring as him, in corner against him at the last FitCon fights?
Yeah. There was a moment where right before the fight started, I look across and I'm sitting there and we're getting ready for the fight, and I'm looking across at Jeremy Hord's looking into the ring, and I'm looking in the ring, and he's in the corner across from me. And I'm like, I'm freaking in a corner across from Jeremy freaking Horn. This is crazy.
Man, we got to get him on the podcast.
Be cool. He just added me on Facebook this weekend.
Yes, let's get him on.
Cool.
I'm working on getting Jimmy Flick on.
Got
to reach out to him. He just won the Contender Series, got the contract from Dana White. Slick jiu-jitsu. If you haven't watched his Contender Series win, go watch it.
Put on a clinic on that kid.
Yes, he did. Anyways, well, I guess we can wrap it up for today. That was a good one. Until next time.
Sorry about the Lions rant. I won't apologize for much on this podcast. I will apologize for this.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Till next time. We out.